The morning clamor of Pushkar spilled into SlumG's helmet as he checked his phone for directions. Useless. The GPS was down again. He eyed the marigold-draped snack stand, the chips and cola stacked like a promise of easy comfort. But his real concern was his stomach, which twisted with a familiar warning. Swallowing a bitter medicine, he steeled himself. Find a working pharmacy before the next wave hit, or risk a repeat of yesterday's roadside scramble. The city's chaotic pulse pressed at his senses, cows and scooters weaving through the dust, and for a heartbeat he caught a glimpse of a stray dog scavenging in the gutter, its ribs stalk, its eyes bright, reminding him adaptation was survival here, not just for humans. Somewhere behind the hum of traffic and laughter, he glimpsed a shadow slithering under a cart, too quick to name but enough to send a prickle down his spine. In Pushkar, even the ordinary could shift, creature-like, at any moment. SlumG hesitated at the crumbling threshold, his nerves prickling beneath the harsh beam of his flashlight. But the Iruo archetype's silent nod drew him onward, the unspoken dare to cross from the known into the ruins' wary dark. Inside, marble dust whirled around Puffer Chase's sweeping brush as Dito Henry's voice echoed survival tips from the shadows, and Number Cruncher, Titu's torchlit calculations flickered across the walls. Each presence a reminder that adaptation here was less a choice than a law of survival, and every step forward blurred the line between outsider and creature. SlumG crept further into the ruins, senses on high alert as Puffer Chase's voice tried to cut the tension. Bed bug count, anyone want the over-under? But even his half-joking tone frayed into a whisper at the scurry of unseen claws in the marble dust. Safe humanity murmured about wild herbs and worse animals, and for a moment their banter felt like a thin shield against the oppressive quiet, until it faltered and left SlumG standing raw and exposed. Realizing he couldn't laugh off every threat. The gloom pressed in, every echo and animal track demanding a new kind of attention, and SlumG caught himself adjusting his grip on the flashlight, body tensing not to show off but to blend in, to reduce his outline, to become less prey and more part of the landscape. For the first time, he tasted the edge of surrender, not as defeat but as the first step in belonging to this place. A shift from fighting the strangeness to listening for its rules. A sudden scratching broke the hush as SlumG, jittery from Save Humanity's herbal mint and Dito Henry's clipped warnings about creature footprints, forced a joke about bedbugs and rats. But his laughter faltered when a real rat scuttled past, its boldness echoing the lurking adaptation he sensed in himself. In that moment, every dare and chat whisper seemed to sharpen his instincts, blurring the line between hunted and survivor as the building's silence grew genuinely, eerily alive. Bursting from the haunted ruins, SlumG staggered into the marble snowfields, heart still thundering as the white dust reflected the last gold of sunset, and families drifted through the surreal landscape like ghosts made gentler by daylight. In the hush, the strangeness of his own survival echoed inside him. Neither rat nor tourist nor ghost, but something altered, caught between awe and animal wariness, as if the marble itself was testing how well he could adapt. SlumG knelt in the powdery marble snow, dust streaking his hands as he pressed mint leaves to his lips, half ritual, half survival. Feeling the grit bleed into his senses as dusk's chill deepened and the alien whiteness swallowed old furs. In that moment, with Chat's imagined voices echoing through memory and the horizon shimmering like a threshold, he realized the creature he'd feared was now part of him. Every adaptation, every joke, every grit-flecked breath rewiring what Gar could mean. Night pressed in as SlumG guided his scooter through winding highways, eyelids heavy, every pothole and barking dog reminding him that survival was not just a joke for Chat, but a nightly ritual. His bones aching, his mind circling back to the marble lair and the creature he might still be carrying inside. Yet as the familiar neon flicker of a dosa stall broke through the darkness and the hope of buttermilk and rest called him home, he realized adaptation was less about conquering fur and more about learning to find belonging, one careful return at a time. At the doorway of his modest hotel room, SlumG hesitated, his hand tied around the mint save humanity had given him, the chat's last jokes about bedbugs and ghosts still flickering in memory. He ran his fingers along the seams of the towel, tugged at the sheets, and dared his palm beneath the water tap, flinching at the cold bite that once would have meant defeat. For a moment, when the light revealed a dark speck on the mattress, old fear surged. Would tonight be another restless, hunted sleep? But SlumG drew a steadying breath, set the mint on the nightstand like an anchor, and methodically unpacked his medicine, arranging each blister pack with a slow, deliberate order, defying the chaos outside and within. This time, returning to Gar was not just a retreat, it was a reclamation, a quiet act of adaptation. Every small, cautious ritual became a way of saying yes. He belonged here, changed and choosing to face what the day and night might bring. SlumG lined up his medicine, fingers brushing the fireworks scar on his ankle, and let a shaky laugh slip out, aware that each gesture, tending wounds, answering chat's silent questions, was proof of how he'd learned to survive the day's gauntlet. The hush in the room felt earned, a cocoon spun from exhaustion and small victories, as if some restless creature within him finally coiled up to dream, transformed and, at least for tonight, restored. SlumG lay in the hush of his hotel room, the echo of marble fields and haunted halls still curling at the edges of his thoughts, realizing that every nervous joke, wild detour, and chat-fueled dare had drawn out something both tougher and unexpectedly at home within him. As his eyes drifted shut, ankle throbbing, medicine lined up like ancient talismans, he understood that survival had made him not just a witness to the day's creatures, but a creature himself, transformed and quietly triumphant in the circle of Gar.